Hey guys, welcome back to the Comic Book Lowdown. I'm Wellington, and this is where I review comic books and comic book story arcs. This is one of my pull week videos. This is gonna be a combined pull week video because I'm combining September 28th week and this week, October 3rd. September 28th, I only read 2 books. So that's why I'm combining this week's and last week's. And the order in this is very hard because I liked everything that I read a lot. So, but the order is, the way I do it again, if this is your first time viewing one of my pull videos, the way I do it is I just review things from, the first thing I'll review is my least liked, and the last thing I'll review is the book of the week, or in this case, the book of 2 weeks. So, to get started, first book is Deadpool, issue 61, getting close to the end of Daniel Way's run on this book. You got El Garza back on the art on this one, so if you see my Deadpool Dead review, you know that I'm a fan of Garza's work. And again, this is non-spoiler reviews, but so I won't review too much, or I won't go into too much detail on these books. So, but in Deadpool, this is really not too much of a Deadpool story, so much as a story with Deadpool in it and about Deadpool, but not Deadpool is not even the main character in this story. He has some stuff to do in it, but really this story is a story about Senior Commissioner, I forgot her name, Senior Commissioner Kemp, her last name is Kemp, and she's an agent from the Interpol, I can't say it right, but, and she's the lady in the wheelchair that when Deadpool was in his evil Deadpool issues, that there was this big fiasco where Interpol was involved and they were trying to capture Deadpool and all that, and she failed at it. And but this is going over how she got into her wheelchair while she's having her retirement speech being written out for her, because she's retiring because she failed to capture Deadpool. But this tells her story about how she became handicapped. And Deadpool is not present through a lot of the entire story. He's not present. But you find out that he has a big role in her handicap. And meanwhile, in his story, Deadpool is actually fighting the Hitmonkey again. The Hitmonkey is back, and there's some fun story in there, but that doesn't take presence over the whole book. So it's a very unconventional Deadpool story from pretty much the entire run, where it would be about Deadpool, and this story is mostly about Agent Kemp, and Deadpool is not present in this story at all that much. So that's Deadpool, issue 61. This is going to be the final story arc in Daniel Way's run, and then Deadpool's Marvel Now stories began at issue 1, so I'm going to be reviewing those. Next few I have here on my computer, so I'm sorry you can't see the covers, but my next issue I'm reviewing is The Amazing Spider-Man 694. This is the finale of the Alpha story arc. I really like the ending of this one, actually. I didn't have any real problems with this, with the story. I didn't have problems with, and I know Dan Slott is like up and down with his Spider-Man stories lately, but in this story arc, no real problems with it. The only problem I had and have had was or is with the Humberto Ramos art. I don't like it. It's not dynamic enough, and it's too. I've been on the record saying that I like cartoony, but this is just too cartoony, and the characters don't look they don't look threatening or intimidating enough. And not even that they're supposed to look intimidating, but they don't look the part enough. They're really skinny. They're really sleek. But, and like, I'm looking at a image of Iron Man right now, and of course he's in armor, but like his torso is very top heavy, while his legs, and he's in armor, they're string bean legs. So there's the problem there. But the story in this is really good. Really like how they finished it, and how Peter resolves his issues with Alpha. And not to go into any detail on how, I mean, I guess there's a threat, without trying to go into too much detail, there's a threat on the Earth that all the Avengers are called up on, and they need Alpha's help, and so they call Alpha in, and it doesn't go their way, or doesn't go Alpha's way in this, and he's just not prepared for this kind of fight like he thinks he is, and it backfires on him. That's as much as I'm going to go into with the story on this one. But again, really great story on this. The art is just what gets me. But all of that is changed when there's a new artist in the next issue I'm going to review. It is Amazing Spider-Man 655 or 695, excuse me. 695. This is also coming close to the end of another book. Slott is wrapping up Spider-Man in 5 issues, and or maybe not even Slott. I think a new writer's coming in at one point. There's a co-writer on this one, last name Gage. I forgot to see his first name, but this is gonna be the Hobgoblin story. Actually, I should say in the last issue, at the end of the last issue, the old Hobgoblin is shown, and he's finding his mask in some crates in a warehouse, and so it seems like it's gonna be a Hobgoblin type of finish to Amazing Spider-Man. And there's a new artist on here, and I know the name, but I can't pronounce it. It's something. It's a hard name. It's Giuseppe Camunculi. I can't say it, but could not want. Well, I mean, I could want more in a Spider-Man story, but that's not saying that this is a bad story at all. This story is great, and I love the art in this because it's the right amount of cartoony for me. It's cartoony, but the characters still look dynamic. Spider-Man has muscle tone to him. He's slim and he's skinny, but he still has muscles. And unlike Ramos's drawings, where he's just straight and flat. Ramos's drawings are way too two-dimensional to me, while I like cartoony, but still in 3-dimensional type of art. So, there's that. And this is just a really good Hobgoblin story. Spider-Man faces off with the Hobgoblin multiple times in this, and the Kingpin and the Hobgoblin have plans for Spider-Man to shut off his spider sense, so they can go ahead and they can attack, and Spider-Man won't notice. Madam Web takes part in this as well, in this story as well. She's foreseeing her future, or the future, but she foresees it as the end of her future. So she like sends her daughter to the grandparents' house, and she doesn't tell her daughter that possible that she's going to die at some point in these issues, or some point in the near future. And so there's some things going on with Madam Web, and by the end of this, Peter Parker tries to have a story pulled from the Daily Bugle, and the Daily Bugle is he's trying to fight it, and they're just not going to have that. So some things happen that I don't want to give away, and at the end of this, something very publicly happens to Peter Parker, and it's all because of the Hobgoblin. I'm going to leave it at that there's a big thing that happens to Peter Parker at the end of this issue caused by the Hobgoblin, and it's in public. I think even saying that is a giveaway, but I couldn't recommend this issue more. This is a really good issue, and the art, if you like cartoony art, but like it well done, not saying that Ramos's art is not well done for comic book art, because everybody has their own style, but in my opinion, this type of cartooning is well done. So if you like this kind of art, this story seems like it's going to be good, and I feel like Amazing Spider-Man is going to end on a good note on issue 700, and then start back at 1 at some point. So there's that one, and the last one on my computer is getting away to my only DC comic on this review out of 2 weeks, 2 pulls, and I've got 1 DC comic on here, and that's Detective Comics issue 13. After the 0 issue, we're back into the mix of things, and this is a Penguin issue. I'm really liking this because, frankly, I don't know the Penguin that much besides from the movie. From, I can't even think of the name. Batman Returns. And I've only seen that movie maybe 2-3 times in my entire life, so I do not know the Penguin at all. Well, a little bit from Arkham City, from the game Arkham City, but that's it. I only know a couple things about the Penguin, but I haven't read a great Penguin story, or even any Penguin stories. I've never read a story based with the Penguin, and I have to say, this issue did not disappoint in story and in art. The plot in the story is really great. There's a lot of wheels turning all at the same time, but it's not hard to keep up with. In this, Bruce Wayne is pretty much he's doing his thing. He's donating things to certain organizations like orthodontistry, hospitals, things like that. So he can then go out and be Batman and not feel bad about breaking people's teeth and stuff, because he's giving all this money to dentists. So I thought that was pretty funny, and they do a really good job with the art in this, in depicting that, because this art is great art. This is great art. It's art by Jason Fabok. All these artists have weird names. Jason Fabok, though, great job on the art. Cannot say more things about the art on this. It's kind of like the Land Medina art that I always talk about in the Venom issues. Um, just really detailed. It's a little cartoony, or it's cartoony and realistic. It's everything is really 3-dimensional, and that's how I most like my art. A little bit on the real side, but still a cartoon to it. So, in this story, like I said, Bruce Wayne's donating all these charities, and he's got a ceremony for his new charities opening up for children, and he's naming it after his mom, Martha Wayne, who, of course, was shot and killed, and all that. And the Penguin is mad. The Penguin, he's so mad that he hires an organization called I think it was called the Red Dragons. Let me see if I can find it. Oh no, the Ghost Dragons. He hires an organization called the Ghost Dragons to put the hit on Bruce Wayne. But at the same time he does that to take off the attention that's gonna be had at the ceremony for Bruce Wayne. He's setting up all these different break-ins and different crime fiascos all across the city. At all different parts of the city, he's setting all these things up to keep Batman busy. Of course, Batman is Bruce Wayne, or Bruce Wayne is Batman. And when Batman's handling all the business, and he doesn't know about the Penguin's plot, so he's trying to fight all of these bad guys and get to the ceremony in time. While the Penguin is thinking, now that Batman is distracted, he's not going to be, there's going to be no chance of him meddling in what he needs to, what he hired the Ghost Dragons to do was to kill Bruce Wayne. And he wants this to happen so he can gain full control over Gotham City, as he thinks he should, because he's also one of the part of one of the founding families of Gotham City, the Cobblepots. And his motives, I really like his motives in this. They're not like, they're very selfish motives, and it makes sense with a type of character that he seems to be. Of course, this is my first Penguin story reading of him, so I don't know what kind of character he's supposed to be, but it seems like his motives are all in line with his character. And throughout the rest of the story, it turns out that Batman does get away from doing his duties, and he has Nightwing on his patrol doing his work for him while he can go to the ceremony. And when he gets there, the Penguin does something. He threatens, I think it was the mayor, he threatens, and or maybe not the mayor, probably just the person opening the foundation. And he threatens him, and he doubles the money that Bruce Wayne was giving to the foundation. And so instead of them naming it the Martha Wayne Foundation for, I forgot whatever it was, it's now named after the Penguin's mom or his grandma or somebody. Again, I don't know the Penguin that well. So, and this happens right in front of Bruce Wayne as he gets there. And in the meantime, the Penguin called off the hit on Bruce Wayne. And but the Ghost Dragons are from another country, and they don't take a failure, which is what it would be, because they didn't kill Bruce Wayne. They don't take failures at all. So at the end of this, it's looking like there's gonna be a fight right there between Bruce Wayne and the leader from the Ghost Dragons, right in front of everybody because they're on attack mode. Really good issue there. But this issue has two stories to it, and the second story is just a story about one of the Penguin's main assistants in the first story. His name is Ogilvy, and it's just a story of his upbringing and or just one of his missions or things that he's done for the Penguin in the past, and he's talking to a guy from Miami that he's doing this break-in with, and the guy from Miami has no idea about the Batman. He just thinks it's a myth or whatever, and he's just asking all these questions about Batman, and Ogilvy's just explaining. He's like, there's a good line where he's like, it's not if you'll see the Batman, but when you meet the Batman. So I thought that was cool. The art in that isn't as great, but the story is pretty good. So that's Detective Comics issue 13. It's really good. I recommend it. And to the next issues. Now back to the ones I have physically. This is a miniseries, Daredevil End of Days, issue 1. And wow, this is sad. This isn't even a spoiler on the story, but as soon as you open this, in the first pages, you see Matt Murdock die. Bullseye kills Matt Murdock. He kills Daredevil in a fight, and this whole story is told in the perspective of Ben Urich, and he's talking about he's seen the footage, and the fight was estimated to be over an hour and 45 minutes, and you just see Daredevil, Matt Murdock at this point, no mask, doesn't even have a mask on, and he's just fighting with every last inch of his life against Bullseye, and it's so sad because at the end, Bullseye eventually just kills him with his own club, and just everybody, not everybody, but just the whole, not even the whole neighborhood, just many people in the Hell's Kitchen neighborhood just standing by and watching Matt Murdock die, and they're taking video and pictures and all that kind of stuff, and it's really sad. And throughout the rest of the story, it's about Ben Urich, and he doesn't want to write the story of Daredevil dying, and he eventually, his cards just are pulled, and he just comes to the point where he's like, you want me to write the story? I'll write the damn story. And then it's going to pick up in the next issue of what happened that got Daredevil to that point where he finally died. And throughout this whole story, it's telling just history of Daredevil. Of course, how he became blind and how he got his sonar vision and all that kind of stuff. And when he killed the Kingpin and when he was outed, when he disappeared. And there's this thing right before he dies. He says Mapone, and nobody knows what it's supposed to mean. So Urich is gonna go throughout, and he's going to investigate on what the meaning is of that. I'm gonna end it on that. Next issue, AVX Round 12, final AVX story. Wow, this story is so long. It is super long. That's why it costs $4.99. And it's a fitting ending in my opinion. I know some people didn't like it or didn't like the event. I did like the event. It was actually the first comic books I've ever bought. I just got started into comic books, or seriously into comic books last year. And that was the first issues that I bought, 0 through 3, first comics I ever bought, and I stuck through it the whole time, and I really liked it, and the ending of this is just great. Don't want to give anything away in it because it is, throughout the story, it is engaging and a lot of things happen, and just saying anything about it is pretty much giving some type of thing away in it. And but it's a suiting end. I wonder what happens now in the next AVX tie-in. It's gonna be AVX Consequences, and I don't know if I'm gonna pick it up, but I do wonder what will happen, if that makes any sense. So, and finally, the top book of the 2 weeks, Minimum Carnage Alpha. This is just a one-shot. Been way too excited for this for a very long time. Minimum Carnage, I love it. I've been waiting for Carnage to show up in Venom, and this issue did not disappoint in the least. Carnage escapes, of course, and they give stories from Venom's perspective and from the Scarlet Spider's perspective, and there's even some great action in it with Scarlet Spider and Carnage, and art done by Lane Medina. He's the man. He drew Carnage phenomenally. He drew everything phenomenally. Scarlet Spider was drawn great. Venom, of course, drawn great. And Carnage was just amazing. I cannot say anything more great about this issue. And it didn't seem slow. It didn't. They, of course, did have to introduce in a certain type of way the story of Venom and the story of Carnage and the story of Scarlet Spider for people who haven't read those characters or know anything about them. But they did it. They put it in subtly enough. That didn't slow down the issue at all. And just all in all, trying to make this video shorter, pick up this issue, read the Minimum Carnage story arc. It's going to go throughout. This is a one-shot, and it's going to be between Scarlet Spider and Venom. I'm going to be picking it up, and I will do a whole story arc review on those issues, so I'm not going to go into too much detail on this. And yeah, just pick up that whole story arc, enjoy it, because it's going to be fun. And that's it for my pull week of 2 weeks. A lot longer video than I expected it to be, but that's what happens when you're reviewing comic books. So, I'm Wellington with the Comic Book Lowdown, and I'll see you guys next time.